What's the BPM YouTube? Welcome back. Got a cracking podcast for you this time with the legendary Jonny Sonic from the Potbelleez. That was a great podcast. I really had a good laugh with Johnny before, during, and afterwards. He's a real character, and yeah, I reckon he'd be the sort of guy that you could go out on a night out on the town and have a real good night out with him. I reckon he'd be a right laugh. But yeah, you're going to hear everything in this podcast, from how the Potbelly started, how they met up, to how they wrote their hit records like "Don't Hold Back," "Are You With Me," all that sort of stuff. And yeah, it's a great chat. So enjoy the podcast. Oh, and also my face is a bit smashed up in this one because I'd literally cleaned myself up at work, walked into a stack of timber hanging off the back of a ute. So I didn't want to delay doing the podcast with Johnny, so I just jumped in and did it literally fresh from smashing my face in. So that alone should be worth a sub from you. So yeah, enjoy the podcast. Check it out. Welcome to the What's the BPM podcast, Jonny Sonic, aka Johnny Murphy. How you going, mate?
How you going, mate? Yeah, from the Potbelleez. Ooh. Nice to be
Uh,
on the show, man. Thanks for having me
this
on.
this is going to be good, man. We've just been chatting off air, having a pretty good laugh
Yeah,
about the
yeah,
old
yeah,
days.
yeah. You can still talk about that live on air. I don't mind.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
didn't do
okay.
anything too nasty.
Yeah, cool. Well, we'll get to that, but like you think of the Potbelleez. I mean, I don't think there'd be anyone that wouldn't have ever heard of the Potbelleez, or at least knows the lyrics to the songs. So it's got to be a wild ride from start to finish. But
Yeah,
this podcast is kind of a bit more of a historic podcast, and I love hearing
cool,
all the stories of how things started.
cool.
So, I mean, you're obviously not from Australia.
No, I'm
Do you
from
want to, do you want to, do
Ireland.
you want to
I'm
tell the
from,
full story of how you came
yeah,
here and
yeah,
that?
yeah. I was DJing in Ireland well before I came here, since I was 16, and I came here when I was 24. So I was DJing professionally for about 8 years before I came here. I'm doing a bit of production, and it was very uncanny. I'm going to fast forward to the first night I came down to Bondi. I left Ireland for a reason. There's a lot of tall poppy syndrome there within the music industry, but there was back in those days, not so much anymore, because it's run by much cooler people now, like Donald McCarthy and Robbie Butler and all that in Ireland. So, I legged it. I went to Australia with my partner at the time, and I left Ireland for a reason. It was like to get rid of the Jonny Sonic name and start fresh. And I bought my box of vinyl, and I just wanted to start fresh somewhere. And I went into a pub. What was it called? In the Tea Gardens, upstairs in the Tea Gardens in Bondi Junction. Myself and my missus at the time, we were coming from another Irish pub that we couldn't get into because everyone was too drunk in there. So we went upstairs, Circa Lounge. Went upstairs to this little Circa Lounge place, and there was this tiny little bar, like a little cocktail bar. And I saw a DJ playing on these like elevated decks, and I thought that's really cool. And he's playing awesome music. So I went up to him, bullshitted, like, oh, I'm Jonny Sonic, fucking Ministry of Sound UK, just totally talking shite, like. And he's like, oh, well, my name's Mick Ellison. Do you know Dave Good from Dublin? I was like, no, actually, it doesn't ring a bell, and I don't know Dave Good. And he goes, well, he's an Irish guy who plays here every Friday. Come down next week and come and have a meet. You can bring some records. And I was like, fucking sweet. So I got in there, and as soon as I got in there, I was listening to the DJ's hands, and I was like, fuck, I recognize this mixing. And fast rewind, what is it? A few years, 3 years in a row. I was studying a degree in graphic design, and on the Wednesdays, 7 to 10 on Nova FM, there used to be this fucking wicked DJ that play all this really cool house music and rarely ever talk. And when he talk, he'd be like, "What do you say?" But then the tunes were just excellent. And I listened to this guy for like 3 years, and then off to Australia. About a year later, I'm going into this random bar in a random country, like 60,000 miles away, and I recognize the mix. And I go up to him, and he's like, before I could say a word, he goes, I know you. You're Jonny Sonic. I saw you on Irish Kids TV. Da, da, da. I'm like, fuck. Like I really wanted to
Can't
get rid of that.
escape.
The first Irish fucker I meet, I was like, there's no escape. And he goes, I'm like, well, he goes, well, Dave Goodman, right? He's like, yeah, yeah. He goes, I was like, what have you done in Ireland? He goes, I came second in the Irish Mixing Championships, which my best friend was the judge, John Power. And he actually gave him his name, funnily enough. And then he goes, I used to play on Nova Wednesday, 7 to 10. And I was like,
No
fuck
way.
off, mate. I've been listening to you for years. You're a wicked DJ. And then, as you do, we got fucking smashed and went back to his place. And I had this idea before I came to Australia of doing something called the Potbelleez. Like I had the name before I came to Australia, and the idea of it being a duo like Chemical Brothers, Get Basement Jacks, Daft Punk, all the big boys. And That's what we set out to do, and we said like what's going to make us different. And then Mick Ellison, the guy that actually joined us together, that made us meet, he always like, off the couch, why don't you play on four decks and two mixers at the same time or at the same time? And we were like, oh, fuck, we could do that. So we set up four vinyl turntables and two Technics Championship mixers, our 500 Pioneers back in those days. And we figured we soldered a cable, what you can do now in the Ethernet, but we had to hear each other on the vinyl and what each other were doing. So when we turn around, we picking out a record, like we're picking out the same records just because we got the same ear.
Yeah.
So it was just mesh, and then we practiced and
Wow.
practiced and practiced and practiced and practiced in Thompson Street or Johnson Street, I think it was in Annandale, 224 Johnson Street, something like that. And then we went. Dave was playing on Saturday nights up at the Cowie Bar in Darling Harbour, 5 hour set. So he's like, "Man, come down. Let's go down. Come down." Like this was back before we were doing all the practice, and it was a couple of weeks after the Cowie Bar or after the Bondi Junction first meeting. And we went back to back on vinyl, and there was maybe 150 people in this tiny cigar lounge, like hanging off the roof, hanging off the stairs, just like, oh,
Just going mad.
like they've never heard music before in their lives. And me and him were just going back to back. And we were like, whoa, fuck, we got something special here. We really got to do something together. We both think each other's a wicked DJ. We complement each other very well with the styles,
Yeah.
complement each other well. Our mixing complements each other. We're both quite aggressive, but very smooth. And we like to battle each other when we're on the deck. So that was just like a real learning curve of like 2 3 years of just like nonstop practicing and looping and get like buying two of every record kind of thing. And then building all around all the clubs and bars in Sydney. And then
Sorry,
like
mate. So what time would that have been? Early
that would have been two,
2000s?
yeah, early 2000, 2004, 5, 6, 2004, 5, really the early days. Well,
What
2002 is
what
when I
sort of
came
music were
here.
you playing?
We were playing what now is called electro house. So it's like a mixture between like sort of techno slowed down and really underground house. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
like you almost have, and then it blended with acapellas on top. So it was just our own sound. We'd be playing just some really obscure, cool fucking house and like scratching in acapellas on top of it and doing like live bootlegs on vinyl and stuff like that. Which was kind of like hip hop beat juggling a little bit. I did a lot of that when I was younger. I started out as a hip hop
Proper,
DJ.
proper
Yeah,
DJ.
proper
Yeah.
fucking DJ, and like
Yeah.
you have like a lot of the guys now doing a lot of that, which is fantastic. But it's nothing new. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think the only person who's been really, really new that's broken all boundaries is Skrillex. Apart from like last Fatboy Slim, then Skrillex. And after that, people like James Hype, he's fantastically talented. He works really, really hard. And obviously, people like Deadmau5 on the production side are next level.
Yeah.
But yeah, for us, it was all about like learning the wax. We like carrying around 40 kilos of fucking wax each every Saturday
Yeah.
night in King's Cross, doing 10 gigs, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And sleeping sort of Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday day, and then
Go again.
and then you go again. And we did that for like,
Wow.
in King's Cross for like 5 years, and they ended up putting us on the cover of 3D World magazine and called us Kings of the Cross. It was, and in that King's Cross area, you had us, Potbelleez. Across the road, you had Sneaky Senses, McHugo's, you had Cook Copy, and you had all these like Australian artists coming through. Then Peking
Yeah.
Duck coming through, and we were all like swapping each other's clubs and booking each other out. And so there was this like real pumping scene in Sydney and King's Cross and down by Home Nightclub down the
Yep.
Keys as well. It was just the best time of my life, of anyone's life back then. I still have my dear friends from back those days today are still coming to the gigs. But King's Cross back in those days, like that's where electro house was born worldwide, and it's widely regarded as a really special time in music. Sydney, Australia, in the early 2000s, 2010 up to 2010, maybe up to 2012, 13. That electro house push really came from King's Cross, from all the artists that worked up and down that strip, and then you got a lot of people like Chemical Brothers and Milo and Carl Cox and everyone coming down. They wanted to come down to Moulin Rouge, to our club, and Moulin Rouge was underground. We had the girls with wearing the corsets, and it was all very sexy, and red velvet, and there was like Sistine Chapel roof but with ravers, and it was really compact and sweaty and sexy, and people were there from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. and we only had 250 people. We were turning over 1,500 on a Saturday
Oh,
night.
shit.
It was
Yeah.
just going crazy. So then
You
it
and out the
was
door. Yeah.
just queuing out the door, man, like non-stop. And that's when we started going nationally and then internationally. It's just like boom, boom, boom. You're on TV and then boom, you're gone. Over to LA and just traveling the world and just started doing circuits of Australia non-stop.
Yeah.
It's been a wild ride.
So when did you start making records as the Potbelleez?
Um, as soon as myself and Dave, like I had this old white like MacBook Pro, the other chunky white ones, and
Yeah.
I had loads of stuff on. Like I was working on Reason, Propeller Heads, Reason, and Cubase, so I had a load of beats and just like kind of half-made songs. Yeah, and I was like, look, we're Irish, right? And we love songs, so it's like let's do kind of. We both love Carl Cox, and so the instrumentals would have to be like the song would have to be, up there with the U2 songwriting. It's got to be just fucking powerful, really, really simple but beautiful, elegant spoken word melodies, real stories, like real stories.
Yeah.
And then the beat has to be something that Coxie would play. That's just fucking slamming, And then together, you take it together, that's the Potbelly sound, It's like U2 on Carl Cox kind of thing. And that started working. So the first record we released together was the Junkyard EP, and that had Junkyard, Dirty Dreams, and Dirty Girl. But we were filtering through. We were doing really smart. We were filtering through what became social media. So Big Brother Up Late with Mike Goldman, like he started pushing our music on the Up Late. So all these stoner students were up late, getting stoned, fucking doing their degrees or whatever, pretending, and then listening to the Potbelleez on Big Brother Up Late, and said Mikey got us in. So we're like, earwigging in the whole of Australia for 4 or 5 years, and then Don Hall Back, we wrote Don Hall Back, and then boom, it was just crazy. So we went number one with Junkyard. That just on the underground scene that just topped us, and we went number two in Australia for the best DJs in Australia. And everything just started going, like jumped from one year at 38 to number two in one year. And we just started setting all these records in all these clubs and selling out everywhere we went. It was just mental. It was fucking mental. So keeping our heads on during that time where you could have a record that lasts a year in the charts
Yeah.
and then put three out at the same time. You have like three or four records in the charts and they're staying there because there's none of this kind of sort of quick, I need everything immediately. There's real fan bases back then, people person to person. You'd hear about the people, you'd go to the show, you'd get sweaty, you'd have it on you the next day, and you'd wake up next year and make, fucking, oh, that was wicked, with a bad hangover, and then do it again next week. And
Yeah.
people go and they become fanatical about
Yeah.
the acts that they love. And we give it back tenfold because we're battling each other to entertain and to get the shit out of our system. So, the two of us are having a little battle ourselves, and then, plonk in, someone of the talent and the genius gift of Ilan, our singer, and then the three of us together, songwriting and producing together. It's just, as you say, it's just magic when we get in the studio together. There's no egos, there's no bullshit. It's just about stories. You can get quite emotional because the three of us have been to fucking hell and back. Like, I mean, we've seen things that people just don't need to experience, and we've experienced things that people just shouldn't have to experience on many, many, many ways.
What do you
And
mean?
but like there's personal stuff like
Yeah.
suicides, deaths, murders,
Oh God.
like dead best friends, like a lot of trauma, a lot of trauma over the years. But we all stuck by each other, like we lost a lot of people over the years, and just a lot of shit went down over the years. That was, you know, you get to a certain level and the nasty people start hanging around, you know. But you know, you get rid of them quick enough. But more on a personal level, we all went through to hell and back, you know. And now that we've kind of done all that, we're even closer than ever before. You
Yeah.
know, we're real like four brothers, including Miles, our manager. You know, he's been there since nearly the start as well. So there's four of us, including Alan and Miles, that, you know, are the Potbelleez family. And then obviously our families directly around us, like, you know, our wives and our partners and our kids and stuff like that. Um, but yeah, it's like at this stage now we're jumping back into it for the love of writing songs and the love of getting back onto the festival circuit. And you know, we've just been tipping our toe back in recently, and the effect had the ripple has been insane. It's like, oh, the Potbelleez
Yeah.
are back, you know. And I kind of sometimes, well, I always forget. I don't go around thinking, well, I'm that lad from the Potbelleez, you know. But then you'll see people coming up to you, like, still like looking at you going, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
like, yeah, and
Looking at you
it's
going,
like I fucking
yeah, I
know
know
you,
that
like,
guy. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
you just constantly. But then you always get these amazing stories from them. And one of the best, like even just a couple of months ago, this woman and her 18-year-old daughter came to a show that we did in Sydney, and she came running up to me with her daughter, crying, her bawling her eyes out. And she goes, "Do you remember me and my daughter?" And 18 years ago, on a flight to Singapore, her baby wouldn't stop crying. And so I was like, give me that baby. So I picked up the baby and I shut it the fuck up, the little cute little cunt. Yeah, little cutie, like, little, you're all right. Yeah, come to Uncle Johnny, probably like stinking a beer, like, and I put her to sleep and then gave her back to her mum. And that was her daughter, her 18-year-old daughter, like in front of me. I was going,
Wow.
fucking hell, you know. And you know, like talking about music that's like being worth it. Like my mother was a huge part to play in me being in music. And the last time I saw her, she said, "Jonathan, make music worth it. Don't hold back. I just get everything you got." So that "Don't Hold Back" is actually a song about me and my mother that I didn't get back on time before she died, so I missed her. I didn't get back to say goodbye to her. So "Don't Hold Back" is a conversation between myself and her, and "Don't Hold Back" is what the last thing that she said to me. And is there anybody out there feeling fucking something? That was what I wrote on the shit. It was like a brown envelope at 4 in the morning, stoned, crying, my eyes out. It's just "Don't hold back." Is there anybody out there feeling fucking something? Like, is there anyone else going through this shit? Because this is fucked. This is hectic. You know. Sorry for swearing. I'm Irish. But then, you know,
It's
bringing
all
the
good.
bringing that idea to the boys, and then they have their input of what stories they want to tell, and then, you know, the acoustic guitar comes through just by sitting there and singing. It was actually "We Don't Need No Education." Ba-da, ba-da. So I just took that rhythm and fucked with it a bit, you know, and like
Yeah.
a touch of pictures. It's like Sam Moore's remix of Pictures and stuff like that. And you just use your influences from around you. But at the end of the day, making music worth it. And one of the other things that we actually saved a kid's life. He was being bullied when he was young. He's over in Perth and being bullied because he was gay. So we were like, fuck that shit, man. Like like our song came on, "Are You With Me?" It came on the hospital radio, and he stopped from hurting himself. So it stopped him from hurting himself. And he sent us this message on MySpace. And we were like, oh my God, like we're going to Perth. So we flew over to Perth and stayed with him and his family for a few days and did a little concert in his house and everything, got him a set of decks and all that kind of stuff. And making music worth it like that is what my mum meant, you know. So every single one of the Potbelly songs, if it has lyrics or not. I mean, there's four EPs on Spotify that we haven't released to the public. They're just up there. If you go, there's literally four of them, 16 songs that you've probably never heard before are up there. So, excuse me, and every single one of them has a very, very deep meaning. And all the songs that we ever do write do have an extra a personal either tragedy or glory stuck behind them, you know. And I think that's why people um, really connected with us, because we were telling true stories, you know, and we're just letting our hair down and having fun telling them, you know.
That's what I was going to say. It's like that. That's probably why they connected so well because they're
Mm.
not just like a cardboard cutout.
Yeah, put your
you know.
fucking hands up.
Yeah.
No, it's not when we can
No,
do that. We can do
yeah.
that, but like, we're artists, and we take it very seriously. But it's what we've been doing. I don't know how to do anything else. I mean,
Yeah.
my art now has brought me into the world of teaching online, and I've been able to muster up this universal code that has been made official as an actual universal code that I can tell an artist's personal energetic frequency and give them that back in a music note. And then we work in their key and all these synchronicities. I called it music DNA, and it's patented music DNA. And it's a process that I came up with from that accident in COVID of trying to heal myself. And I came across a guy called Dr. Joe Dispenza through meditation. I don't know if you've heard of him or not, but he's it's all science-based healing meditation, and it fucking works. So out of that, I was able to see that, oh, there's seven music notes, there's seven chakras, there's seven primary and tertiary colors, there's seven of every 7 days of the week. But there's this circle of fifths, Camelot wheel, like the chakras, the singing bowls. But then there was like, how are we missing this in music? How are we missing this science in music? Nobody's actually just listening to the fucking note and going, that's the frequency I love. So the way I came about it was reversing engineering all the songs that I've created with the boys. And what was I doing when I made those? I was either crying or pissing myself laughing, but listening to that note. I'm not a classically trained musician, but I know what I like, and I know maths and numbers. And putting those two things together, I was like, fucking hell, it was just one note. It was from that one note. An anthem came from it. And many anthems came from it. Okay, shit. Okay, well, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I use this code that I bring online, that I bring the artists in, and I totally rework the way that they work. And I process them the way I process my own work. So I'm teaching them how to write hits the way I write hits. Not that I go out to write hits, or Alan goes out to write a hit, but this is the method that we use that creates all these really successful records.
Yeah.
And just yesterday, I was telling you about James Hype robbing my idea, which is really cool because now I can say in my platinummusicmentor.com, in my music DNA course, that if you want the best DJs in the world to rip your ideas
Plagiarize.
off,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
well, to rip off your ideas because
Yeah.
they're so bloody good, and I've got proof of it, and fucking great, come to me, I'll teach you how to do them. And then yeah, I made that one as well. So I've
Yeah.
got this really lucky advantage that I can go into the e-commerce world, sell a course for a few $100, sell me doing the course with them for a couple of grand, which is fuck all, for 5 weeks,
Yeah.
and get these people, like these artists who either had to go away and to deal with their family, or they just never made it and they're still passionate about it, or they're just coming up and they've got a little bit of money and they're ready to go. They're fucking ready to go. And they go from making, like one or two, maybe three demos to play out, to like 16 to 25 records over the 6 7 weeks
Completed. Yeah.
past the
Yeah. Yeah.
course. Yeah, it's I've split it down into 5 really easy weeks, man. Like the first week, and this is in prone. This is part of what I'm
Yeah.
doing at the moment, which I'm really passionate about. The music DNA. I'm teaching 10 at the moment. I've got another 10 coming next month, and as I go, keep forward, I need 5 to 10 new every month, and just kind of getting these artists into the labels, getting them signed. Everyone's getting signed at the moment because they're all working in their key. They all sound like themselves. They're all loving their own music. They're not battling with YouTube tutorials. They're like boom, 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 boom. First week, get your music DNA, fill your sound bank with everything in the same key. Second week is called create and play. You build fucking 10, 20, 30, 16 bar loops that sound perfect. Week three, arrangement, copy it out, chuk, 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 arrangement done. I'm not going to tell you how now, it's fucking easy. And then week four is how to write catchy hooks, and how to write deep and meaningful lyrics. And then week five is mixing and mastering, and then how to release it, and that's it. And like you got all that for like 2 grand, and plus I've got the whole thing recorded from when I did it last year with 15 top artists. So these artists are coming to me, paying a couple of grand, and they get me for like 5 6 weeks, and is working like
Yeah.
in their computer on with them, person to person, because I didn't find any glory, or I didn't. So not glory is the wrong word. I didn't find any passion in just selling a fucking course.
Yeah.
and jumping online and teaching one person this and the other. It's like, nah, man, I've got to be person to person. It's got to be one on one. So I'll give you the course, just pay for the time with me, and you've got me for 6 weeks, you know. And but then I stay with them, like everyone sticks around, you know, like that, and they keep coming in and building like Raw Audio. I've just got signed to Safari. They're guys up here who have been developing. Fuck, there's so many, like there's just so many to list. It's bloody brilliant.
Not
Dylan
only
does it.
that, like imagine the connections that you've got.
Exactly. So,
Like
Jackson
crazy.
Parker, I just sent Jackson Parker stuff to John Course a few days ago, and he had, in 18 years of DJing, he made 3 tracks. And now he's made 26, and he's got a new EP that's brand new out that we wrote together that I helped him finish, and with the music DNA course. And Vicious are looking at him at the moment, and he's done a massive remix of From the Music. We did it together in his studio. And I'm like a touring producer, so I'll drive down to Gold
Yeah.
Coast and work in other people's studios, and work with people. I like getting out and about. I don't like being in my studio all the time.
Yeah.
I like getting out and about and
Yeah. Out
helping
of the
people
house.
set,
Yeah.
yeah, helping people set up their shit properly. But that's the thing I'm really passionate about at the moment is music DNA. And if anyone wants to go and have a look at it, it's just platinummusicmentor.com. I'll send it out to everyone,
I'll
and then
put
just
it
go
in
through
the
that.
I'll put it in the description
Yeah,
of this pod. But just
that'd be great.
whilst you're kind of on that
Mm,
topic, when being back in the day, if you guys are kind of exploded onto the DJ scene, you've started
mm,
making music, releasing music.
mm.
Like, how did you navigate dealing with labels? Did you
That
have any
was that
bad
was
experiences
no,
early
no,
on?
that was easy because we had planned it. Like our manager, Miles Cooper, he is an absolute fucking ninja, right? He is the backstage superstar. Everywhere he goes, people want to know who Miles Cooper is, right? So he has all these connections. So as we were going around, so ask the question again, because ask the question again quickly.
I was just saying, like, back in the early
How do
days,
we
I was,
navigate the record labels?
yeah, like, did you
Sorry.
have any issues with getting
No, so
drafted
what,
or,
what so remember I told you about Moulin Rouge.
yeah,
Our resident DJ was Tim McGee, and he just happened to own Ministry of Sound. And then one of our friends, Jamie K, saw us playing in Moulin Rouge afters, and we played our Junkyard and records, and then John Corse got really into it. He wanted to sign us. So then Miles is best friends with Miles' sister is married to Tim McGee, and we love Vicious. So Vicious and Ministry went into a battle for the early Potbelly stuff, and we signed the biggest independent deal in Australian dance music history. And we didn't
wow.
go with Ministry. We went with John Course with Vicious. But Tim McGee was still our resident DJ, and he's still the owner of Ministry of Sound. So he bided his time over about 7 to 10 years when we were with Vicious, and then we jumped over to Ministry of Sound after that, and we were with Ministry up until recently. So we've never had a battle with labels. They've always been really good to us because we've always, brought songs to them that they could be published that do well. They could put
Yeah.
on TV. They could put on the underground. You could put them on Christian TV and you can put them on Devil's TV. It was that kind of thing. But that was all brainchild of Miles Cooper, our manager. Yeah, he was the ninja driving force behind all that.
Yeah, like but you just hear so many horror stories from like,
Mm,
young producers signing
yeah.
dodgy contracts and that. So that's good that
Mm.
you never really got ripped off totally. But
Well, no, we were smart about it. Like we were smart about it. Like we always said, nobody's going to own our publishing. Nobody's going to own our masters. Like if you
yeah,
want this, it's got to be our way. And that way worked really well for us. We were able to set up our own publishing label with Universal, and we publish other artists. So then we publish our own music, so we get the money back. And that's something these days that you can do a lot with DistroKid and just put your stuff onto Spotify, but you're not going to get paid. So, but let's not go into that.
yeah,
Let's not go into Spotify.
it's yeah, shocking. But so sorry, backtracking a little bit again.
Mm.
So I mean, I remember that through that period, you guys were. I used to see you guys on the TV quite a bit. Like you must have
Yeah,
done some massive shows. Like
we did.
was it the NRL
Yeah, so we
grand final?
did.
Like you did
We did
so
all the
many
grand finals.
huge things.
We did Big Brother grand final. We did 3 Big Brother grand finals. We did like all the next top model grand finals. We did the Australian Idol grand finals on the opera steps of the Opera House. twice. We did the NRL, AFL grand finals, and we've done all the rugby finals, the soccer finals. A lot's on TV with the rugby boys, the AFL, like the footy show, like 7 or 8 times, breakfast shows, did everything. Absolutely
Yeah.
blanketed the shit out of it. I'm sure people were pretty happy when we took a break because we were fucking everywhere, But that you have to keep yourself on, on trigger for TV. Like you have to be looking healthy going on TV as well. So, there's definitely a massive responsibility when you get to that
Yeah.
level to hold your shit together and to do it the right way, And we managed to just about do that. But yeah, it
So
was a time.
it blows my mind. Like, how does just a couple of normal guys go from being just normal pretty much kids,
Mm.
you're kids in
Come
your
from the
twenties,
streets of Dublin.
and then like now you're these superstars. Like, how did you
Mm.
cope with that?
Well, we always saw ourselves as just the backing act to the music, because when you think of the Chemical Brothers, you think of their album cover, or you think of Daft Punk, you think of the Helmets, or you
Yeah.
think of Basement Jaxx, you think of Carnival. You don't think of the two lads behind it all. There's kind of a bit of a mystique there, but that mystique is that doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we were shrouded in mystique, and that mystique drew people to the show, and then the songs are like, oh fuck, I love this song. Let's connect, and I'm going to go to the show, and then they come and pay for the ticket, you know. But yeah, it was it wasn't that hard to navigate when everything was laid out in front of you and all the gigs and everything. The hardest thing to navigate was your mental health and your physical health. They're the two hardest things to navigate and to consistently be cutting edge, because we always wanted to be ahead of the game. Like if a style of music was coming in, we'd just jump straight ahead of it and do something else. We always carved our own lane, and I think that's why I suppose we not like overnight success. Like still took me 18 years, but that I think that's why there was such an impact because we had such a groundswell on the underground. It was so big that it had to push through,
Yeah.
and then it was like, all right, well, we're all new to this. Let's just fucking put our pedal to the metal and
Ride
take
it.
it and just
Ride the
fucking ride
wave.
it. Yeah, and do it the best we can. We went to LA, recorded a bunch of music, went to Vegas, went all over Europe, went to the Middle East, with France, UK, Europe. I went to everywhere, did quite well. And obviously Australia has been amazing for us. But yeah, it's coming from Dublin. It's funny because myself and Dave are only from around the corner from each other in Dublin. He's from Tala and I'm from Temple Oak. But it took us 60,000 miles to meet and to connect and to
That's crazy.
yeah,
That is actually crazy.
people from Dublin know that Tala and Temple Oak aren't great areas. I mean Temple Oak's a little bit nicer, but they're not the best of areas. At the best of Dublin itself is has improved a lot, but back in the day they weren't the best of areas. And for two kids, literally just pipe dreaming it, like winging it, but had a very very strong vision and a very very strong belief there the vision, the belief, and the support from our friends and each other. That's what we had. We had each other.
Yeah.
'Cause I think it would be very lonely being a famous DJ on your own. I think you have your cameraman and your manager, but I never wanted to do it on my own. I always wanted to have a partner doing it. I always wanted to be a duo, and whether that was my
Doing it with
friend.
your mates.
Yeah, whether it was my friends in Ireland in a fucking boy girl band, the pop act, or if it's the Potbelleez moving forward in Australia, it's going to be something. And Dave was just he's it, and we just went back. That was it, and we're still he's going to be the best man at my wedding. So you know what I mean. So yeah, you just navigate it by staying fucking humble. You know what I mean? You have to stay humble. Like so and I think that's why we've lasted so long is because we don't have egos. We
Yeah, like
don't
you
we
sitting talking to me right now. Like you could have
yeah
easily just
like
been like, "Oh no, I'm not doing that small podcast. I'll go on Joe
ah, fuck
Rogan."
that. No,
You know?
I think it's an
Yeah,
honor to do anyone's podcast. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like, because everyone's fucking struggling for attention at the moment, and that's the money. Attention is money these days. So I'm happy to jump on any your
yeah.
podcast and have a chat. It's nothing out of my day. I'm writing music as it is, and looking after my girls. It's
No,
not.
the one thing that I will say is like I listen to a lot of podcasts, and I know, yeah, I just listen to a lot of podcasts, so I consume a lot of information about them, and I know that um like documentary makers,
Mm.
like journalists, people
Mm.
from Vice. They
Mm.
have people that just trawl podcasts
Yeah, right.
looking for things to write about. So, like, if you're listening and you've like umming and ahhing about jumping on someone's podcast, just
Mm.
do it because you just
I'll do
never
it.
know where it's going to go.
Seriously, like I've had so many like mentorees because the platinum music mentorship is worldwide. I've had so many from America saying that they saw me on Bass Clef's podcast from 3 years ago. So and now I've got
Yeah.
like ten students over those 3 years, like that have
Yeah.
stuck with me.
So
And and
worth it.
and,
Hey.
and Bass Clef is one of my closest friends in the music industry. I look up to him. I used to look up to him. I used to know of him back in Ireland, him and Mark Dynamics. And then Mark Dynamics is one of my best friends. So like I'm looking at the people that I look up to who are really close friends of mine now, like really close friends of mine,
Yeah.
and especially Mark. And he's doing a huge big charity for one of our friends, Travis Searchin. Actually, I'm going to give this a shout out because
Yeah. I saw
um
something about that.
yeah,
Yeah.
so Travis is one of the nicest guys on the fucking planet, man. Like it puts a lump in my throat talking about him because I love him so much. So when I went through quite an accident in Gold Coast as well, and I nearly broke part of my neck. And Trav was there the whole time, and he was actually a booker. Like he had a really bad accident in the QT hotel. A big board came back and broke his neck. And ever since that, it's just been horrific. The guy's had like nearly 30 operations, and his funds have been cut off. Like, it's unbelievable
Kidding.
what's happening to him. Yeah, so he needs like hundreds of thousands of dollars to fucking stay alive. So Mark is doing the gig. I was going to do it, but I'm going to be away unfortunately. But I'll get the right details for you. We'll flash them up now,
Yeah.
and you get down to it's going to be in the Gold Coast. I'm pretty sure it's on the 31st of August. And Mark Dynamics doing a set for Trav. It's all going to be for like I'm actually putting up one of my music DNA courses for free. Someone can like do a blind auction or a silent auction. So
Yep.
one of them is a spot like for 2 grand or 3 grand in my course, and that so there's that money going towards it. So if anyone's around the Gold Coast on the 31st, we'll put the details up now to help Trav out. And
Unreal.
this is another thing, like what my mum was saying, don't hold back, make music worth it. Like we can help
Yeah.
Trav, so we're helping him. We all that's what's so beautiful about the Australian music scene in general. Actually, everybody, like all the lads and girls, from everybody, from Tiger Lily to Timmy Trumpet to us to the Sneaky. They're just full of lovely people. Like it's
Yeah.
full. The industry here is full of really really lovely people, and that's why they all stay at the top. That's why Sneaky and us have been around for 20 odd years. That's why Peking Duck are still going
Yeah.
around. So it's like there's a real camaraderie. There's a real pride. I mean, look at Fisher for Christ's sake, and Dom Dollar. Like they're two of the biggest in the world now.
Yeah.
And they come from the same places that we do. Like the inner circles of the Australian industry. Like Fisher was a famous surfer. You just never know. Like it's very good being Australian and Irish in the music industry around the world.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that much. Yeah, it's you do get a little bit of luck out of that, and the bit of the Irish charm got on TV, and something that's a little bit different, and we speak a bit different, and
Yeah.
we're always about the fun. This is fun. This is to bring people joy.
Yeah.
So why would you have an ego like when
Exactly.
your
Hey.
job is to entertain and bring joy to people? Like arrogance and ego, that's why they just go pew, pew, pew,
Yeah.
pew,
People
pew.
don't want to work with them.
People don't
Yeah.
want to work with them. And the whole music industry, the music business is one big collaboration. And if like and even though James Hype took this idea, he's doing stuff that we used to do back in the day, but the new version of it online. He's really carving a path there for the DJ's DJ. Like he's a technical little wizard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's a really good thing for the industry. I think it's really, really good for the industry that they're focusing on back on the skills, and that it's still a popularity contest now. The fan has gone. Like the DJs were saying that some of them only had their first show with no phones. So for the first time, they had people dancing at a massive show, and they're talking at Tomorrowland. It's just like what?
Yeah.
You've never played to a crowd that wasn't full of phones. That's the essence of clubbing. That's the essence of the DJ and the person like loving each other. And it's a give and take. We give the music and then they give the love, and it's a circle. And then it's just like it's an energy. you're not there to record the energy.
Yeah.
You're there to be the energy. Fucking idiots.
Not in the
Sorry.
moment. Hey.
But there's nobody in the moment. So
Yep.
we borrow phones from like our cool proper shows. And then the at the corporates, nobody's on their phones anyway because everyone's so pissed. You know what I mean? And they're loads of fun. So we just like let loose at the corporates, you know. We have some really, really good fun at the corporates. But then, we'll step on stage at the Ministry of Sound classical tour, and we'll get up there and do a fucking savage, 1 hour of power of Potbelleez live and mixes and DJ stuff and beat juggling, and I'll get out there and do some rapping or some crowd hyping and really get the crowd fucking like steaming. You know what I mean? That
Yeah.
was always my vision. And now it's more like with the phones. It's
Yeah. The
weird. It's
lights
like,
sticking up.
yeah, it's like playing. It's like, hello, are you ready to go? It's like, yeah, I'll be ready 1 sec. So I don't know. The industry has changed a lot, but it just means you got to be online a little bit more. you know,
What
which I
what happened to you said you had an accident. What happened?
which one?
The
I had
one
a
that you
car.
need all
The
the surgery for.
Well, the 2016 was my neck. That was just a rear ending in the car, a bit of
Oh,
a twisted neck.
yep.
But the one, yeah, it was a BMX accident actually. And what I was doing when I lived in Melbourne, I'd go down to the skate park early in the morning and on my BMX. I've been BMXing my whole life, and I just get on the kids' flow, so just get into flow state and I just get my mind like into flow state, going up and down the ramps. And there's this one called a nipple, and it just goes whoo whoo, and it's like on the roads in your car, and you go whoo, it dips the
Yeah,
stomach
your
a bit.
stomach
And
goes. Yep.
yeah. So I used to love that. But this one morning it was a little bit dewy because it was cold, freezing as fuck as Melbourne is, and there was a bit of dew on it, and and the bike went flying up, and I went flying up the wrong way. So I'm about 10 foot in the air, and I come back down like my arm snaps, elbow, forearm, wrist, fibia, tibia, ankle smashed in 10 places. I had to get an ankle replacement, but they couldn't replace it, so it's still broken. So I'm walking around in a broken ankle the last 5 years. And then I had to get my whole elbow replaced, and then the whole Essex laprosti, which is the ligaments that go across that basically make you buoyant, that ripped all the way inside. So I had all this nerve damage. My hand stopped working, my arm stopped working. I was carrying it, and then just about a year, like last May the 5th, I got it fixed again, and it's working again. I can scratch again. So it's I got it back finally. It's still not 100%, but I've got one more operation to go because my ulnar is a bit too long, which makes my radius a bit too short. So I got my radial head. I don't know if you see the scars all the way down there.
Yep.
All there, and it goes all the way back up here. And then this one here is where they opened up the arm. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's all the way down there. And then there's this one here as well. It's like, can you see it? That one there. It's like straight down the middle there up
Shit.
to there. Yeah, so they opened me up a couple of times. I've got one more operation to go, but man, I couldn't wait to get back on tour. Like the second, like I think 6 weeks after my operation, I'm already on stage, like with one arm going, with my future wife, and that was a year ago, and I haven't stopped, and I'm just kind of getting back into gigging and touring and back on my feet kind of thing after this. It was a year rehab for this, and I'm still rehabilitating. I've got my little section over there in the house for rehabilitating and doing my physio every day. It's very much I it's changed my life, the way I live a lot. I was told I wasn't going to be able to walk more than 5Ks a day, and I was never going to be able to use my left arm again. And fuck that. So I actually bought these. I wear them every day. I bought these boots, these fucking Solomon boots, and I taped up like from here to here, and I
So your
taped it up.
ankle doesn't move.
The ankle didn't move, yeah. And
Yeah.
I put on Joe Dispenza, and I just started doing one step at a time, one step at a time, one step at a time. And now I'm back. I can't run, but I can walk 10Ks every day,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I can use my arm pretty well. So fuck you, surgeons.
The body,
I
the
made
body,
it.
the
I'm
body finds a
back.
way. Hey.
Yeah, man. Like I went up to 120 kilos as well. I was on like painkillers, like heavy stuff, shots and like just to keep me kind of moving. And
Yeah.
that was the reason I was like, this just isn't working for me. I can't fucking do this. I'm
Yeah.
huge. I can't move. I'm usually an athlete. This is not. what I'm doing. This is not my brain. This is not me, I'm fucking addicted to painkillers, it's fucked up. So that's why I went down the meditation route. And like now I'm like floating around 84, 85 kilos. I'm fit, I'm healthy, I'm clean and just loving life, to be honest, like really living a healthy life. I have my medicinal cannabis for the pain and that's about it. That's about it. A little glass of red wine when the missus cooks a gorgeous meal, which is every night. But very much clean
Yeah.
living, family
Yeah.
life these days, man. Yeah, and I'm loving it. It's amazing. I'm never on my own. It's great, like because being a DJ, especially if you're a single DJ touring, it's a pretty fucked up world. It's a
Yeah.
pretty messed up, people want things from you and but no, man, I've always been a serial monogamist and finally found my wife after 47 years of looking and Chrissy and she's a horror movie producer and
Oh, wow.
she's a gorgeous 13-year-old daughter who's 14 this week. Happy birthday, Narnie. And yeah, it's just the best life, man. Like I love it. I'm in love with life again, and found this whole new way of living over the last
Yeah.
few years. It's been fantastic. She's yeah, absolutely the love of my life, and
Awesome.
yeah, it's a beautiful way to kind of start the next phase of my life, and starting the Potbelleez again in a way. I'm looking to move back to Sydney with the girls. Because we like all my friends, those 50 are still in Sydney.
Yeah.
I miss them all dearly. The boys are both in Sydney, and I think it's time for me to. Miles moved back from LA to Sydney, so I think it's my turn to bring the girls and get back to Sydney and get the studio
Get
going in
into it
Sydney
again.
again and get into it again and see what happens. No pressure. Like we
Yeah.
want to do it purely for the fun of it, like
Yeah.
we used to do. Because I mean, we've not that we've achieved everything that we've set out to achieve, we have, and an awful lot more. But there's still an awful lot we haven't done. Like we haven't broken through again, as I see it, fit to what our standard level should be, because we haven't been in the studio enough to
Yeah.
do it. So that's what we're really looking forward to. And we have about 7 or 8 like really good solid tunes in the work at the moment. I've probably got about 15 or 16 instrumentals, more instrumentals. I'm constantly writing. I've got loads of artists that I'm working with. I'm doing loads of ghost production. So I'm keeping really, really busy and keeping busy not on tour. And
Yeah.
then just on touring when it comes in and really enjoying it, for what it is.
Like I said to you before we started recording,
Mm,
it does sound a bit corny, but like
mm.
there's kind of I've actually heard Sasha say this about Digweed, but like
Yeah.
there's like a magic that happens between two people that like maybe your styles kind of don't
Mm.
align perfectly, but in the middle there's just this magic.
That's
Do
it.
you feel like that's how you guys are?
100%, mate. So, like Dave played really underground, like sort of house, like real underground house music, piano, Fred everything, not a Fred again, Fred everything, real house music. Lots of vocals. And I was a bit tougher. I was a bit more sort of techie, tech housey, as you would say. But I played it a bit slower, and he played the house music a bit faster. So we kind of met in the middle at about
Yeah.
128 BPM. And so we stuck to 128 for quite some time. And in the studio, when we were in the studio, like I'd be driving it, David would be beside me, and we wouldn't have to speak for like 10 hours, but we'd stop. Yep, yep, that's it. And then we'd talk and boom, next level, boom, next level, boom. You just get these creation sparks. You let flow state happen. Creativity is something that you tap into. The flow state is something that is always there. You're a beacon to it. So you just open up your antennas, I suppose, and let it free. And then, when you can do it with someone who's amazing at arrangement and sound choice, and someone who's a brilliant singer and can hold any fucking note, and then someone who writes catchy little fucking 3-line choruses, and you mash it all together with some filthy beats. I love a sawtooth, and we just mash it all together and finish it together. That's where the magic happens, man. When
Yeah.
you're free and you don't expect it, and all of our hits. Every single one of them has been written in under 20 minutes, but it took probably about 4 months to finish, but it was written in 20
Yeah.
minutes. The,
Yeah.
the production and the engineering of the vocals and the actual track, they're the hard parts. The easy part, I suppose, for us would be the initial feeling, what the Potbelleez record sounds like, the stomping beats, real stompy,
Yeah.
chunky stuff. big acoustic or a piano riff, and then the massive vocal calling card, call response. Whoa, whoa, kind of thing. That was our formula, and we still have that. We still have that. I mean, me and Lan wrote a drum and bass track there a couple of weeks ago called Beautiful Night, and it's gorgeous. Like we could release it as a Potbelleez track, but it's just going to go into the library for a minute. We're going to get a bunch of them together and see what happens. Go to the publishing labels and see what the industry is like
Yeah.
this time around for the Potbelleez. It's we've got a great history in publishing and a great history with our record labels, and we've made a lot of people a lot of money over the years. So when we come back with new music, I think we'll be I think it'll be hopefully received well. I mean, I think that it's important that we're happy with the music first and that we don't make
Yeah.
it for anyone else but ourselves, because it's our art. And then, as Rick Rubin is like, the job is done. Like when you're happy with your music, that's the successful part. The money stuff and the gigs and all that comes with it to promote your music, but your job is done when you finish the record. Like
Yeah.
listening to other people's opinions is totally irrelevant, other than the three people in the room. When the record label tell you, okay, I want three more of that, that's when my soul gets killed. It's like, oh, I want three more Don't Hold Back. It's like, well, just with the fact that you said that, you're not going to get them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you said it now, you put the pressure on us. But like, just let us do our thing and we'll fucking deliver. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there was a little bit of that back in the day, but that was just, I mean, Don't Hold Back and Are You With Me? Hello from the music. They're just such huge records that, we just not had to keep that was our style. You know what I mean? So we never really had to be told what to write. We just delivered. And then John Chorus and Lauren Padman, who's like the head of Dim Mac now over in the States. Me and Lauren did not, I think 91 arrangements of Don't Hold Back to get it right, perfect for radio, in his apartment on my laptop. And that's why he's the head of Dim Mac now. He's just so bloody good. And John Course, really one-on-one with you with the record. Like he'll spend time in the studio with you, and just in love with music. He still is. As I talked to him a couple of days ago about Jackson Parker, and he's still the exact same. A legend. And then obviously Tim McGee that owns Tomorrow Music, 100% involved with all his artists as well. They're real grassroots people who've carved the whole of the Australian music industry between the three of them.
Yeah, mate. And also, I don't want to take up too much of your time, but
That's all right.
um, you're talking about the healing,
Mm.
the power of the music being able to heal. I interviewed Phil Smart.
Ah,
I
right.
can't think. It
Feel
was
okay.
a few episodes ago.
Yeah.
And he is big into all that. He's like studying it.
Feel
So there is
smart.
like full
Yeah, yeah.
science behind it. And he does these things called sound baths, where like you go
Oh,
into
yeah.
a club and you pretty much lay on a yoga mat, and then he plays this like, drone music, and
Mm.
like, oh, it sounds so cool. I've seen some of the videos. It just looks so relaxing.
Feel smart. That's brilliant. Well, it is. I mean, there's a thing called the solfeggio scale, which was the thing that broke all boundaries for me. And once I studied the solfeggio scale, it's actually a scale of six, now nine frequencies. That like the 432 is very famous these days because it's the one that heals the human DNA. So like I've got all these meditations that I've got this, like, say, my 2 hours in the morning where I'll meditate, I'll have my bath, I'll just get myself ready and get ready for the day mentally. And there is absolute science behind this because I've healed myself. I've been able to heal myself through this meditating. And I've been able to take that and help artists heal themselves through their own music, through their own personal energetic frequency. So I help them heal their frequency and in this music DNA thing. And it's so crazy, like, that it's been patented and that it's exactly what it is. And it's so simple and so elegant that I can't die with this information in my
Yeah,
head. I've got to get it out
yeah,
there and I've got to help people. And it is helping people, man. Like it's helping, and it's helping me because I love helping people. Like, it's I've got all this knowledge in my being, and now I know the science of it. I know how to do it. I know what the process is, and I've got my own process that's original only to me, and it's getting these huge results for these artists, and not results as in Oh, they've got 2 million followers. No, no, it's results for them. Like they're making their better. That'll come. You know, Dylan Does got like 32 records. They're just trying to figure out which eight are going to be the singles because they're all singles. You know what I mean? So it's a good place to be in. And you know, I'd implore if anyone is there, you know, out there listening to this or watching this, if you are struggling with your music or you don't know what to do or where to go, you know, just DM me, just slip me a message or email me, and I'm happy to help. I'm happy to point you in the right direction because I really fucking love developing artists, and I'm very good at it, you know, and I'm really passionate about it, and I'm passionate about my artists. And when they get a pop, I get a pop, and when I get a pop, they get a pop, and it's all very, very natural, and it feels like I'm on stage when I'm with these artists in the studio with them. So it's you have that performance that's ticked off as well, you know, and that
Yep.
that performance gets put onto the record. You know, like back in the day when it was tape decks, when the Beatles were recording, they'd have 20 people in the room. That energy is stuck onto that tape. And that tape, you're listening to energy. You're listening to literal frequencies. You know, the little fucking needle hitting frequencies being sparked as a vinyl. How all that works is absolutely insane. But
Yeah.
having yeah, working in your own key, there's something really healing about that, and it opens up the artist in this just magical way, man. It's fucking magic. It really is.
How do you discover what your key is?
You have to work with me.
Okay. The process.
You have to work. I'm not going to tell you that,
Yeah,
mate.
yeah,
You got
yeah.
to work with me to
Yeah.
do that. I'll tell you after. But
No, awesome.
it's very simple. It's very elegant. It's based on human design and based on it takes three things for a person to remember something in psychology. So I've done my research and I've done my due diligence on perfecting it, and I've got it down pat, and it works. If they do what I say, it works. And
Yeah.
luckily that I have the trust of the artists that I work for and work with, you know, that I do feel like I'm working for them because I'm bringing them somewhere that they need to get, and I know how to get them there, you know, and it's really satisfying for me when one of my artists gets signed and they, you know, another one's just done a remix of Don't Hold Back, and they're one of my first students, and now they're getting number ones in the area chart, and it's all come full circle, and yeah, it's really quite amazing and powerful. That's why you see me all the time putting up little shorts of me and the artists I'm working with at the moment. You know,
Yeah.
both as a promotional tool, but also to see the fun that we're happening, the tunes that we're banging out. You know.
Man, I was talking to a mate about this who has made some records. He's had some releases,
Mm.
and he's just kind of getting back into it. And he was like, he was, saying, "Oh, what do you reckon?" And I said, "Mate, when in if you do anything in life and you have a coach,
Yeah,
you do better."
yeah, big time,
Like, man,
big time.
after I stopped DJing, I got into like combat sports. Like you can see
Wow.
that some of the trophies
Yeah,
up
yeah,
there.
yeah. So look
But
at
like
them.
I excelled with a coach.
Yeah. Mm.
They see things you can't see.
Yeah,
They tell you how different ways to approach things. You're thinking
yeah.
about this wrong. Think of it like this. And then
Mm.
next thing, bang, you go up a level, and then you go
Yeah,
up a level. So
that's it.
it would be no different with music.
Mm.
It would be just like having a coach, and
It is, yeah. It's a coach. I am coaching and mentoring. It really is, and I think, as I was saying earlier, I think uh, the special thing that I've got that 90% of, well, 99% of the coaches out there don't have is the actual real world experience, like the platinum records and the
yeah, for
whatever.
sure.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like, and there's a lot of coaches out there. Like, there's one brilliant, like EDM tips, Will, that does EDM tips. I watch him nearly every day. He's so entertaining and he's brilliant at what he does. Bass Clef's brilliant at what he does as well. There's a few of them out there and that are really, really good. But there's very few with the actual like real life experience. You know, you see a lot of bedroom producers coming out with, you know, chat GPT kind of
selling
built
courses. Yeah,
selling courses, you know, and that's cool. You know, like there are definitely ways and benefits from doing an engineering course on production. You know, like learning how to use Ableton really, really well, or learning how to use compressors and EQs really well, rather than stacking up 10 plugins to make it sound good. You know, it's more on what I teach is make it sound good from the very, very start. So we rebuild your whole catalog purely on one thing. Do you love it or not? Do you love that kick drum or not? Do you love that snare or not? Okay, give me 20 of them, folder them. Right, what are you making? Piano house? Okay, let's your G minor, right? Let's go into splice. Let's pick 20 piano house fucking samples. Get them, then trumpets, vocals, basses, drums, everything you fucking want. I'm going to show you how to file it, and then I'm going to show you how to trigger it, and how to trigger it, and how to trigger it, and how to write free in 16 bar loops. And then once you have a perfect 16 bar loop with five elements of music, or even three, it's fucking you're off to the races. And then all you have to do is arrange it, mix it, and master it. Off you pop. Then it's just about how do I get the idea that's in my head sound like on the speakers. That's the
Yeah.
hard part, but I know exactly how to do that. I know exactly how to get that for the person. And it's exciting. So if anyone out there wants to do it, go to platinummusicmentor.com and or just fucking email me and I'll tell you all about it. Because I get excited talking about it because I know the results and I
Yeah.
know how happy it makes these producers and artists. So it's fun for me as well. I wouldn't do it if I wasn't getting that out of it or just money.
Yeah.
It's not for money. It's definitely for the experiences and for teaching. For sure. I love it. I love it. And I've even started a foundation with my missus called the Music DNA Foundation, where we go into areas, say like Ipswich, we went to a couple of months ago, and we had 15 foster kids, and they were, really violent, younger kids. They just had no chance. So we go in there, myself and my missus, and as soon as they hear their beat, I do everyone's music DNA, and then we do a track as a collation. And as soon as they hear that beat, and it's usually hip hop, they all turn into little Westie rappers, and they're alive. You know what I mean? They're like, fuck yeah, and they're not a foster kid anymore. They're a fucking rapper, or they're a beat maker, or they're a songwriter, or they're an artist. And then we have this amazing day that they all come out with their own song. Like you will have three or four who really kind of excel, and then the younger ones. My missus goes and does games and painting and colors in the music DNA colors and the chakra colors because it's all based around the colors. Because every note is a chakra, is an energy point. So you're just pressing people's frequencies. That's all you're doing. So all I do is tune into the right frequency, and that's their note. We just reverse it, reverse engineer it, write the chorus first, and reverse engineer it. It makes it much easier rather than sitting there writing a verse into the chorus. It's not like that with house music or any music. To be honest, that yeah, for me it's top down, not bottom up. It's like let's write the chorus first, the big bit, and then see how it goes. Especially in tech house when you only have like
Yeah.
whatever. But the songs is where like I love writing with Alan and Dave.
Yeah. Unreal. Mate, you did briefly talk about it before, but so what have you got for the next like foreseeable future with the band?
Oh yeah, we got heaps of gigs coming up in August. We've got two trips to Perth, to Terrigal, to Barrel. God, so I got my Mrs. 40th coming up. So we were actually meant to get married in Ireland, but we're doing it next year. We got loads of gigs coming up on the first in September. We've got a ton of stuff coming up. It'll all be on online. I've got it all on my phone right now, but we've definitely got Perth coming up in August twice and Sydney in September, and there's loads more in there, but there's tons coming up. And we've nearly finished possibly our first record, which is a cover that's never been done before. Can you believe it? There's actually a house record out there that hasn't been done because we need to kind of dip our toes back in for the new kids to understand who we
Yeah.
are or what we're about. And then once I move back to Sydney, get more of that kind of content of us in the studio together, and build a new fan base around that. And I think the guys who've done it the best, who are kind of the same ages as us, who've reintroduced themselves into this new industry, are chasing status. I think those boys have done it brilliantly with their drum and bass, and
Yeah.
they've got
Enormous. Yeah. Yeah.
poof, but they've done it right from the studio to the street. That's the way it's meant to be, and that's why people are just hounding after them because they think it's all new, but it's not. It's the old school way of doing it, studio to the street. So it's pretty much the kind of thing that we're going to do. Just see how it goes. Just see how it goes. No pressure. There was too much pressure on us there for a while, and it made us all go a little bit batshit. So
Yeah. Yeah.
we've all recovered from the craziness now, and we're just keen to just get in the studio with each other again.
Like
Really keen.
I reckon your timing is pretty much perfect because
Mm,
I was talking to a mate of mine earlier this morning, and I was saying everything comes in cycles.
10
We're
years.
just kind of seeing the end of like that sort of 90s pumping house
Yeah.
cycle. The next
Yeah,
cycle is the electro
that's
thing again.
it.
I
It's
just think it's
coming.
probably just about
Yeah,
to happen.
well, have you heard Laid Back Luke's latest record?
No,
It's
no.
it's like 2006 all over again, man. Like
What's it called?
fucking, I
I'll
can't
look it up.
remember. I can't remember. It's his brand new record. It's absolutely stomping. I love it. I love Luke. He's fantastic. He's a great character. Brilliant DJ as well. But he was right there with us on an international scale of that electro house sound, and it is coming back. And songs are starting to coming
Yeah,
back. Look at Chris Lake. What he's done for Fisher. And all the songs that he does with 3 4 word hooks, no verses, just hooks.
yeah,
And we're lucky enough that we've got a singer that we do verses with, but it's still 3 hooks, 2 verses, a chorus, and a middle eight. It's 3 hooks that we write. So, yeah, I think the timing is going to be pretty fucking spot on, to be
yeah,
honest with you.
for
And all,
sure.
all things going well, that the sound that we do make, and we had a meeting in Sydney about a month ago, and myself, Dave, Miles, and Ilan, the four of us, and we're like, well, what are we gonna do? Like, what do we want to sit down and do? We want to make fucking tunes that DJs want to play at Tomorrowland. Like
Yeah,
we want to do what we did before. So we're just gonna make bangers again. Just gonna get in the studio, not be too like artisty, like just get in there and make some bangers and see what
yeah,
happens. Because that's what we used to do, with
yeah,
a sad song on top of it with a long note, "Whoa," kind of thing. And then see how it goes, man. And because we've got the miles on the clock. We know we've done our 100,000 hours of songwriting and
yeah,
production, but it's still new every time we go in. We've got new templates, got new kick drums, got new bass sounds, got new ways of producing, and then you have these happy accidents that are like, oh shit, that's a hit out of nowhere, or whatever, as in a hit here.
yeah.
But I think, yeah, as you're saying, it's going to be really, really good timing. Once we get back to Sydney and start cranking them out.
Unreal. I'm excited. I'm
So
excited
am
for
I,
you.
man. So am I. Yeah, I'm pumped. I'm fucking pumped.
Yeah, legend. Oh man, thanks heaps for
No problem, man.
taking the
Appreciate
time
it.
to have a chat to me. I know that you're like that's probably why you're so successful, but you're like a really hard worker. You're always doing
Thanks,
a
man.
hundred things and super busy. But that's the
Is
best
it?
way to be, isn't it?
It is. I think it's the only way to be these days because you can't just be a DJ producer anymore. Like you have to be an engineer, a film producer, a director, an accountant, a business manager, marketing. You have
Social
to build
media
your own
comedian.
website,
Yeah,
a
like
comedian, social media
yeah, yeah,
comedian, and like so anything you see of mine or the Potbelleez, we've done it ourselves. Like I
yeah,
built the websites, I built the logos, I've graphic design and degree. Like, it's all us. It's all our own artwork. It's all our ideas, the film clips, everything comes from us. So it's once we get in there, once we get back to Sydney, man, it's going to be pumping. I can't wait to have that fun down in Bondi Beach in the studio and just almost pick up where we left off in a totally new way. You know. I'm excited. But thank you for having me on the show, man. I'm
no
very,
worries.
very
It's
grateful.
been a pleasure. It's been unreal.
It's good
Um,
time. It's good timing as well because I just got a message from the missus. Excellent.
cool.